And Miss Pullen here with another lesson on shapes. Today we're going to be working on decomposing flat shapes into two or more shapes. So I have attached this shape template below. You can go ahead and print it out if you want to do the activities with me, or you can just follow along, whichever you'd prefer. Okay, so I want you to take a look at this paper and tell me what you see. If you said shapes, you are correct. Yeah, we see lots of different shapes. I see squares, I see rectangles, I see triangles. So lots of different shapes. So if you're doing this with me, I want you to pause your video and go ahead and take a minute to cut all of these shapes out. Okay, so if you went ahead and you're doing this with me, then you would have cut out all of your shapes and you should have all your different shapes out like this, okay? All right, so I want you to hold up your gray square. So this is your gray square. If you're holding up a shape, it should be this one. You're holding up your gray square and your white triangle. So if you're holding up another shape, it would be this one, your white triangle. Okay, so gray square and white triangle, and I want you to put your white triangle on your gray square. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on top like that. So if you have your gray square, go ahead and put your white triangle on top like that, and then tell me what you see. What do you notice? So you should notice that we have two triangles, right? The white triangle that you put on top, and then you can see that you have another triangle in your square. So your square is actually made up of two triangles. So there are two triangles in this square. You can kind of see that with the dotted line too. So next, I want you to find your gray rectangle and your square. So this little square. And what happens if we go ahead and cover up as much of the square, of the rectangle as possible with our square? So we're gonna go ahead, you could put it like this, right in the middle, or you could scooch it over and put it like that. So what do you notice? If you put it like this in the middle, what shapes do you see now? Yep, you see a square in the middle and then two smaller rectangles on the side. But what if we moved our square over like that? What shapes do you see now? Yeah, you made your rectangle into two smaller squares. So we found lots of different shapes inside of our rectangle, right? So now I want you to hold up your white and gray triangles. This is our gray triangle and this is our white triangle. And I want you to tell me, if you put them together, what shapes can you make? So let's see, if we put them together like that, what shape did I make? It looks kind of like a square, right? Like our bigger gray square. If I put my two triangles together, I can make a square like that. Good job. Let's see, so now just hold up your gray triangle. All right, so if you're holding your gray triangle, let's go ahead and fold it on the dotted line. So Miss Pullen just went ahead and folded it on the dotted line, and now what do you notice? Is it still a triangle? Yeah, it's still a triangle. It's just a little bit smaller than our original gray triangle. So when I unfold it, I see the two smaller triangles inside my larger triangle. Very good. So now you can look at your white rectangle with the dotted line, and you can do the same thing, fold it on the dotted line. So if you go ahead and fold it on the dotted line, now what do you notice? You still see a smaller white rectangle. So if you open it back up, you unfold it, you're gonna see that the big rectangle is put into two smaller rectangles, right? You can find two smaller rectangles inside your big rectangle. Very good. Okay, so if you folded it maybe in half on the dotted line and then fold it again, you would notice that instead this one big rectangle becomes four smaller rectangles, right? If we drew a line right there, you'd have four smaller rectangles. So I want you to take your large gray square and then you're going to fold it on the dotted line. And this one, you notice that it gets folded into two triangles. They're the same size and shape as the white and gray triangles. We saw that earlier when we put the two triangles together that we made a square. Very good. Okay, so friends, today we found a lot of little shapes inside other ones. So it makes you think of that it's like inside one thing is another thing that is smaller. It's like folding napkins for dinner. They start square and then you can make them a rectangle or a triangle. It's like our numbers. We found number pairs hiding inside bigger numbers. And these are shapes hiding inside bigger shapes.